Hey, hi, how are you? Welcome back to my Red String series, the series I created because I wanted to. My name is Mel McSherry. My pronouns are they, she. And this is the second episode of what the series is. The one I posted the other day just gives you a quick intro into my intention behind this series and the full transparency that this is a work in progress. This is unfiltered, this is unedited. I created this space because I love to share and I love to teach and I love to support. And I got a lot of questions, and by a lot, I mean two, because I hate it when people are like, "Not many of you messaged me." It's like, Sam, did they? But literally two people messaged me and asked me why I have coined this the Red String series. And the reason why is because that is what I love to do. That is one of the things I have the honor of doing with my clients is red stringing together their why to their different hows. And by giving them space and guiding them through by taking a step back, right? Because if anybody has watched any sorts of crime documentary or movie or Sherlock Holmes or anything along those lines, there's always that board that has all of the red strings, right? And they're all going towards a common goal, but they all start in different places. And sometimes you can't really see how they connect together because you're so close into it. And what I love to do, and one of the gifts and talents I have, is seeing the picture as a whole and asking questions and guiding you to where you can start to see it for yourself. Now, as I mentioned in the first video, one of the tools that I do use predominantly is a tool called human design. And it's really interesting when I start to talk about this tool because there's many camps that are connected to it. Like there is the camp that people are like, this is the way, right? You take it word by word and you can't do this and you can do that. Then there's the camp of like, this is all bullshit. You know, it was created by a white guy named Alan, which is facts. Like this is a cult, yada, yada, yada. And then there's those in between that have heard of it, are curious, but aren't really quite sure about the practicality of it. And how I utilize it is guidelines. How I look at it as it's nothing you don't already know. It might be in a slightly different language than you are used to, but it's the core of the language that you use to advocate for yourself. It's the framework, quote unquote, that gives you enough structure to know your best starting and stopping places with really fun ways to experiment and flow in it. That is me to a T. I love structure. I love a good process. Num num. And don't tell me that's the only way to do it. Like, give it to me as a jumping off point, but don't say it's this or nothing. And that's why I actually started doing what I do in many different ways. So, I'm going to give you a little bit more background on me, and then that's going to be it for this episode. Okay. So, as I mentioned, my name is Mel McSherry. My pronouns are they, she. I've been in the entrepreneurial space since 2010. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, lost the business, grew the business, shifted the business, all of the things. And my businesses, because I've had several different ideations, have flowed with me throughout very many plot twists in my life. So I started in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer, loved it. Tried the corporate gym for about a year, hated it. Didn't like the fact that I wasn't getting paid to be there if I didn't have a client. I wasn't given a lot of permission or space to build a clientele in the way that I wanted. And when I did, and when it was successful, my manager stole my idea, took all the credit, and then turned around and told me that I'm not doing good enough. Sprinkle in the fact that I was pregnant and all of a sudden was replaced in all of the duties that I had, basically fired. Because whatever. It is what it is, right? It was always interesting when the universe, when you're like, should I? And the universe or God or Gus or spaghetti monster, whatever you believe in, if anything, is like just pushes you out of the nest. And so I actually started my own fitness business, like I said, back in 2010. And I loved it because it was mine. And in 2010, there was not a lot of noise when it comes to how you build your business. There was barely any social media. Facebook was a thing, but businesses weren't really using it the way that it's used now or how social media is used now. So a lot of it was word of mouth. A lot of it was being asked to be interviewed for, real publications. I was featured in Time Out Chicago, which really boosted my business. And I loved it. And it was successful to me in a way that just felt really lovely. And then the first plot twist came at the birth of my son in 2011. I was married at the time, and my ex-husband, my son's father, worked all the time because he had to. Like, I want to preface this very clearly. His dad, in that moment, in those first couple of years, did the absolute best that he could. Our situation was very unusual when it came to the amount of the amount of time he worked and how long he was gone for. And we had just moved here to Chicago. By the way, full transparency, I'm no longer in Chicago. I'm just outside of the city in an area called Oak Park. So for those Chicagoans, I'm not trying to be a Napervillian and saying I'm from Chicago, okay? Anyway, I digress. Um, I didn't have any family here. And my friends, bless their hearts, were all single, did not have children, and, categorized me as a mom, and therefore stopped inviting me to things and wasn't really there to really support me. So that was a big fuckery point in my life. I had undiagnosed postpartum depression. My son got super sick when he was a week old, was in the hospital for a week, which was very traumatic for all parties involved. And I didn't know who I was. Didn't know this title of mom, didn't know what I was doing. All of a sudden, I'm no longer all of the things that I identified myself as, and didn't even know the identities that people were pushing on me or just giving me due to where I'm at in my life, what even the fuck that meant. And so I did some, bits and bobs to keep us financially afloat and to help support us. Obviously, my ex-husband was doing the bulk of that financially. So I did some online medical billing for my father's company, which, whatever, it was what it was. Became a virtual administrator for an IT company and then got promoted to basically the operations manager. And then I was also a PA for individual, again, remotely. So, figuring my shit out. And long story, Gemini short, I went into network marketing with Beachbody as a fitness coach. Did not want to do the hey girl messaging. Got suckered into it because this is where the noise started getting super loud. And this is where I stopped seeing my red strings, right? I just started seeing people as the way, people's processes as the way. And I got really, 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 really good at copying and pasting and making it my own enough, but not really trusting the natural ways that I worked, the natural ways that I worked that worked beautifully for me back in 2010. But you don't know when you're in it, right? You just keep going because it works and it did work. I got pretty consistent. I got very consistent in my sales. Money started coming in, started all of a sudden building a team, and creating a little bit of a framework in regards to how I work. And then in 2015, Realized that the marriage I was in wasn't one I wanted to be in anymore. Uh, and asked my really awesome husband, because he is and was and still is, him and I are still very close, uh, for a divorce. And that's a moment that I look back on not as often as I used to, because to me, that was a very big anchor point in establishing and taking control of my identity and really seeing, like, and really standing up for myself, which, sometimes that is easier said than done, especially when it's something good. Like it's a little bit different when you are in a situation where you're miserable, they're miserable, people around you are miserable, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Can you just like not?" As opposed to everybody around you being like, "Y'all are good," and them and you going, "Yeah, we're good, but we're good." Right? Like, is this all there is? Do I want to break out into song right now? Yes, yes, I do. Am I going to? Only in my head. Um, but it was in that moment that I knew that I had a say and that this wasn't going to change unless I said it. And I will never forget the night that I asked for it. I was scared out of my mind. It was the most difficult thing I have ever had to do. And I'm going to get emotional about it because I was breaking my best friend's heart. Like, right? And it established for me a new jumping off point in regards to what I'm capable of. And that started my journey as a divorced parent, building now coaching, business, because from what I learned from Beachbody and what I saw, I really wanted to shift over out away from fitness and work with entrepreneurs in general. And really started building a name for myself. And this is 2016 now. And I was still copy and pasting. I was still performing. I was still seeking a title that I could anchor myself into that somebody else gave me. So I knew which direction to go or what to do. I still wasn't trusting myself the way that I did back in 2010. And the noise is getting louder. This is when social media is at its newest peak, right? Instagram's massive, Facebook Lives. I started speaking, which I love, obviously. And I worked with a mentor who was very structured, who was very goal orientated, which I thought is what I needed because she had accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. She was six figures. She was speaking all over the world. She was having this really amazing lifestyle. And truth be told, I got there. Like by 2019, I was bringing in nearly six figures in my business. I was traveling all over the country speaking. I got invited twice to Ireland to speak for free. Like they paid for me, not that not that I just paid for there. But I was creating this really beautiful life. I was starting to date my now partner, and things were just really gorgeous, right? And I I still have difficulty describing this feeling. I felt like, all right, here's the visual I have, and welcome to my brain. It was like I was this glass container, and everything that container was filled with was poured from somebody else, and it had become this unrecognizable, uncomfortable feeling. And success felt good, but it didn't feel mine. I still didn't feel good enough because every time I did hit a milestone, I would get the pat on the head, which was great, and the validation, beautiful. But then the next milestone, right? And I always felt like I needed to step up instead of step in. And I couldn't put my finger on it of how to vocalize this or even what help I needed, if that's even what it was, until human design found me. And I'm not going to go into what human design is at this moment. Who knows when I will. I'll, probably share bits and bobs as I continue to share things, especially when I start using it as an example of how I red string things together. See, bringing it back. Um, but it blew me away because for the first time ever, I was seeing me. And it wasn't like pieces of me, right? We get connected to people's stories, to motivations, to movies, to things because we recognize elements of it from ourselves or from our story. But it's not the whole thing, right? And it also doesn't come with any sort of like, well, now what do you do with this? And when I started really diving into my chart, it was just what I like to call OHF moments, oh holy fucks. It was just OHFs over and over and over again of like, oh, like the way that my shoulders dropped and the way that my jaw dropped of just holy shit. This this is me. This is why this worked. This is why this didn't. Like, yeah, this is me. And to see yourself in something and to have it that is something that it is meant to be applied and meant to be a guide to it's your operations manual, right? It's meant to be a guide so you can understand the patterns that you have created for yourself and which ones need to shift. And there's that red string again. Now, human design is also very overwhelming. There are many, 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 many layers to it. In fact, the person who brought it together, the white guy named Alan, the community is probably gonna be like, what the fuck, Well, Um, he says it takes an average of 7 years for you to fully incorporate it. And that was very luxurious to me because it was already repositioning this idea of like, 60K in 60 seconds, flip your business in 30 days. These very short time crunches that we feel we have to pressure ourselves into in order to create something that we want. Instead of how do we have the capacity and the space to take what we already know to be true and that is already workable and successful, and how do we play in that to continue to expand it, right? Give it the space to, it's like a good wine. How do we give it time for it to breathe so it can really mature and be like, so good. And so I started applying it to myself secretly in 2020. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't even know if this was something. Definitely became something. Started talking more about it to friends, um, and not really family members because I grew up in a very religious household. We'll get to my religious trauma at some point. Uh, and then was like, God, if more entrepreneurs, actually if more humans, but at the time, if more entrepreneurs, especially those who, are assigned female at birth or identify as a woman, if they knew this, if they knew the power that they already had, if they could see the ways that they truly are designed to create what they want in all facets of their life, like, oh, what shifts could we make? I guess it's kind of cool, right? So I came out of the spiritual closet on LinkedIn of all places for the first time in 2022 and started talking about it. And it's evolved ever since. First being predominantly working with individuals one-on-one in their, on their life and businesses cohesively, using human design as our guide, as our framework, and then seeing what really beautiful traditional tools, one, they've already invested in, and two, what I know from my now 16 years of business, and watching them evolve, watching them evolve into the person that I already saw, because then I can see a little bit further back than some people. And then to watch them just ease into their decision making, to ease even into the fuckery points, right? Because we are still human. There are still hallways in our journey, always those transitional points. But the fact that I have the honor to walk alongside individuals and be that supportive space, be that guide, ask them the questions, you know, not coerce them to what I see because what I see is what I see. That's mine. I'm not here to take them where I see them to be. What my goal is to show them the beauty and the profitability behind their way of living, their way of doing business, and really just grinding into that like a motherfucker. And now that's even expanding into B2B, being an Oz of sorts and supporting coaches and consultants by just showing them their clients in a deeper way so they can expand their language that they already have with their clients and really connect to them in a way that accelerates the quote unquote success that they both want for themselves and for each other. So now we're in 2026. Like I said, I've been doing this for 16 years and I love this crossroads. I love the fact that I have started this Red String series. I'm excited to put that Red String theory into play more and more. Um, Again, my intention as of this moment is to just share how that came about in different conversations with clients and with individuals, not sharing any names, because that's not cool unless they give me their consent. But also, I want to be here to answer your questions. And I know this is only the second video. I don't even know how long I've been talking. But I also want you to be able to feel free to comment questions below, and I will more than happy make a video and answer them. Whether it is something about human design, whether it is something about, a disconnect in your business, or I don't know, insert question here. This space is a safe space. This space is a space where you and I can just step in and talk and connect and share and learn and guide. So, welcome again to my Red String series. If you've made it this far, would love to hear where you listened from. And, to do the traditional YouTube thing, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or as I like to say, share if you are called and subscribe if you are curious. And I will see you next time. All right. Love you. Bye.